Today I'm going to teach you how to transform into her. Starting off by blocking out my brows so that I can redraw them red and super high arch like Lucille's. Tip for a better brow block: you want to have enough layers of glue that when you rub your finger below your brow, on top of the brow, and then above the brow, it all feels uniform, that there's so much glue that you applied in singular layers that you can't decipher like the brow itself or individual hairs. Right now I can, so I need more layers. Color correct with an orange lipstick. I'm going to try something new out, which is using the P. Louise eye base to start the concealing process for these. And then going on top of that with my Too Faced Born This Way concealer. Taking a damp beauty blender, I'm going into my Bare Minerals powder foundation, and we're just going to press that right on top of this concealer. I think I'm going to go ahead and put my base down, so I'm going to use this e.l.f. matte putty primer. Using House Lab for my base and some mixing pigments to adjust the undertones. Usually I would mix up my perfect shade on the back of my hand, but I'm filming like one of those voiceover videos and this just looks cooler, so it's more for it's a virality trick. It's not necessarily the best technique. Mix it on the back of your hands, don't do the dots. For with the brows, I'm using this James Charles Morphe palette, and I'm starting out with this orange color. I'm also dipping into these two colors next to it. To make the brows look a little bit more three-dimensional when you're redrawing them, I'm gonna take a darker shade and just go underneath to kind of draw a shadow and do the same thing on top so it looks more like a 3D object. Her brow shape is very wide set and also very rounded and arched with a pretty average length. We're gonna do this beautiful green eyeshadow look, so I'm starting out with the NYX Jumbo Pencil and Milk to make like a base. I set that liner with a mix of this lime, yellow, and white. Then I started roughly mapping out a shadow to try to emulate her deep set eyes. I laid down that darker green on the outer V of my eye. Now I'm going over it with that same white to kind of blend it out and tone it down a little bit. I popped white in my waterline, and then I took black shadow underneath here, and then I took a light brownish. She kind of has the Sophia Loren trick going on if you look very closely. They gave her the faintest brown wing, but they left the space right here blank instead of filling it in. She has this super faint brown shadow liner right here. That brown liner then goes into the boldest part of her eye makeup, which is this really tight lined black liner on the outer third of her eye. And that black liner flicks ever so slightly into the top part of that floating liner. Usually I'd put my liner where this blank space is, but this goes right here on the top. I'm gonna skip curling my lashes because her top lashes look like they're actually starting to droop into her upper eye. Lucille's always wearing a pair of these long, straight, wispy lashes. I'm gonna use Ardell Wispies. I trimmed them to fit my eye, and I cut from the inner corners, that way we retain all the length. Highlight and contour time. For the highlight, I'm going to use Rare Beauty Concealer, and for the contour, I'm going to use Charlotte Tilbury. She has a square jaw. Our jaw lines there are actually similar, but she doesn't have these divots that I have. So I'm going to put little triangles there where my jaw kind of goes in. Drawing in a wider nose bridge, and she kind of has like an oval bulbous tip. Adding a little bit of brightness to the center of the forehead. She has a lot of brightness right here under her eyes. Pop some contour next to our nose highlight, and right here to kind of widen my nostrils, and I also added highlight right here to kind of lower my nostrils like hers. Then contouring my forehead and besides my temples to shrink those. Gonna go right in with bronzer and skip contour on the cheeks. For her blush, I'm going to take this Rose Ink in Azalea. I'm going to place it right under the cheekbone. She almost has that like her contour. Her lip liner shape is super exaggerated. They did that so that when she would laugh or make a funny face, and I Love Lucy, it would be even more animated. Extend the upper lip past the lower lip. All the focus is going to be here on the outer part. There's almost none on the Cupid's bow. I'm going to use this Yves Saint Laurent to try to get her nude pink shiny lip. It's good, but maybe a little bit too pink, so I'm going to go in with this Huda Nude. Time to set our makeup. I'm going to use the RCMA No Color Powder under my eyes so that we can keep that really bright look that Lucille has. Next, we're going to do her iconic poodle hair, so I just took down the pin curls, and I brushed this part back and pinned it down. I let down the rest of the curls on top, and now I'm taking these top curls, wrapping them around my finger, and just arranging them to look like the little curls she has on top of her head. Using this L'Oreal Root Touch-Up Spray to make my hair red. Stuff is so cool. The bangs caused me a lot of problems, but got to be saved the day. And Lucille, of course, had beautiful blue eyes, so blue contacts. I may or may not just have spilled water on myself. And here is the final look. Hit the plus sign so you don't miss my series on her life history. Bye!